Hi, this is Robin, and this is Dialogue with America. This is a very important episode of the podcast. It's a third one that we're having, and I think it's really important that we have a dialogue with each other because of what's going on in our country with pipe bombs being delivered, domestic terrorist acts, the 11 people that were murdered in a synagogue in Pittsburgh at the Tree of Life. I think it's really, really important that we speak because on social media, I'm finding it very difficult for people who have been entrenched in their own camp to listen to the other side. On one hand, people are saying it's time to stop, and both of us need to do it. In my book, I look for leadership. I look for a calming presence in times like these. I look for the president of our country to help us through major times. This president, President Trump, lacks empathy. Without empathy, you cannot be the leader of people who didn't vote for you or the people that voted for you. And the problem that we're having is we're unable to speak to each other about it because we're so entrenched in our positions that we cannot see the forest for the trees. We cannot see what the other side is feeling, seeing, or thinking. What I see is a lot of hatred. I see hatred of Jews. I see hatred of minorities. I see hatred of immigrants. I see a lot of fear. I see a lot of people feeling emboldened to go out and videotape people who, while being in their face, being in their space, beating them up, following them to their doorstep, calling the police on them. I don't ever remember a time in my lifetime that has been like this, except for maybe Watergate, but this is worse. This is a country that after the first black president was elected is now in a spot where we elected a person who may not have been elected 100% because of Russia involvement, and we're still waiting for the outcome. And it's looking more and more like there has been a conspiracy on his part to affect the outcome of the 2016 election, which has now infiltrated into the 2 years of his presidency. His rhetoric, his rhetoric is so hurtful and harmful to our country. um, Calling the press the enemy of the people, saying all of this is Democrats' fault, talking about these caravans that are coming to take your jobs like their paws. They're going to take your body, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. They're going to take you and snatch you while you're sleeping. And they're going to take over this country, this white country that we have. He says, I'm a nationalist. This is a racial dog whistle. A nationalist. This is what Hitler and his party called themselves, the nationalists. These are the white nationalists. These are the people at the baseline who support this president, who he's talking to a lot. The people that were arrested for sending those pipe bombs to a two former presidents, to Clinton, to Obama, to the Secretary of State, to two first ladies, to a senator, a congressman, to George Soros, who is a fundraiser, who to someone who called for Trump to be impeached, Tom Steyer, to James, I think it's James Clapper and William Brennan, who are intelligence officers. This is unacceptable in this time or any time. We have not seen the likes of this stoking of fear. And the people that write to me on Facebook, who I consider friends, some do not understand my position. So let me explain it to you. I say that the fish rots from the head. But what does that mean? It means that from the top from the top management down, from the president down, the people that were closest to him down to the people that voted for him, there is this constant and unrelenting whipping up, frenzying, all because they want to keep power. It's all about power, 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 power. Trump has no ideology. He couldn't care less whether you have money as long as he has money. He couldn't care less whether you pay a lot of money for tariffs, your business does, as long as his company makes money. He couldn't care less about your family because he cares about his own family. He lacks what's called empathy. He lacks the ability to see other people's rawness, being hurt. Whenever you listen to him speak publicly after one of these events, in the beginning, he's teleprompter Trump, who used to make fun of Obama, speaking off a teleprompter. But he's teleprompter Trump. He's telling us what he thinks we want to hear, what he's told to say. But after the cameras go off and then he moves over to one of his rallies, his campaign style rallies, is he running for president again 2 years early? He has never stopped running because he doesn't govern. He doesn't do anything in this country. He does nothing but stoke the flames. He's an arsonist. He's an arsonist of words. And I blame that arsonist. I wish that there was a way for him to be legally responsible for inciting crime, inciting violence, inciting the words, not calming us the way other presidents have done, like Reagan after the Challenger, or Bush after 9/11, or Obama after the shootings in Connecticut. We look for, or Clinton, was it Clinton, I think, who was when the Oklahoma City bombings? We look to those leaders to unite us, to put their arms around us and unite us. You heard Obama singing Amazing Grace when blacks were killed in a church. What do you hear Trump singing? Do you hear him singing anything? No. He talked about his hair. He had a bad hair day, and he went to his rally anyway. But of course, when he criticized Obama, it was Obama played too much golf. Really funny from a man who plays golf constantly, who owns golf courses and goes almost every weekend to one of them. And yet people say to me, I like his policies, and so I tolerate it. No, no more. You cannot have both. You cannot have him as president stoking fears, because that is the lives that we lived in the past, in the 50s, in the 60s, and in the 30s. And some of you don't like when I make comparisons to Hitler and to the rise of the Nazis, but I'm sorry. This is fascism 101. Whipping up frenzy, putting down of minorities. And those of you that don't see it, you tell me I'm looking for the truth. I talk about hypocrisy. Do you get truth from Donald Trump? Do you? You don't. I'm not a hypocrite. I'm a realist. I am not a hypocrite at all. And I want to have a dialogue. I want to talk to you. I want you to hear me. I'm willing to listen to you, but I'm no longer willing to hear people excuse this president's rhetoric for whipping up hate, who's now sending troops to the borders where he's going to, quote unquote, I would guess, murder those or shoot at. He's sending armed troops to the borders for this caravan. That's really a lie. There's no caravan coming. They're 1,000 miles away if they're anywhere. These are people who are looking to come here. And those of you that I know who are immigrants, who came to this country to seek refuge here, how can you back a man who would seek to stop you from doing it? He talks about chain migration, and yet his wife came here, was here illegally, now brought her parents here. Isn't that the definition of chain migration? Why is it okay for Melania Trump but not okay for anybody else? I'm sorry. I was raised to believe that people are created equal. I was raised by a mother who marched with Martin Luther King in August of 1963. I was raised to believe that the color of your skin is not as important as the content of your character. That's how I was raised. That's how I raised my son. That's how many of us raised our children. Can any one of you out there honestly tell me that you want your children to look up to Donald Trump as a role model? Even his ex-wife, Ivana, said that he was a father who really didn't care. Only when they grew up did he care, because he wanted them to run his businesses. Can any one of you say to me, you want your kids or your grandkids to be like Donald Trump? You want them to mock the disabled? Do you want them to put down immigrants like yourself? Do you want them to call women stupid and whores and sluts and fat shame them? Is that what you want? Or to say that they can grab them by the crotch? It's okay, and kiss them whenever they want, and it doesn't matter. You know why I'm angry? I'm angry because people don't take us seriously. This is a serious issue. For this president to be presidential, he's incapable of it. I look for leaders. He's not a leader. I would have given him a second chance, but I saw. All you had to do was watch his TV show and watch him to know that he couldn't care less about you. He could not care less about you. He cares about himself. He cares about his kids. He cares about his wife. He cares about his family. He cares about his business. He cares about his business buddies, and he cares about money. He doesn't care if you have or how much you have. Now they want to cut, the Republicans want to cut Medicaid, Medicare. Those of you on Medicare, those of you of my friends who are receiving Medicare, so you're over 65, might be chopped. How are you going to live? What are you going to do? You're going to blame the Democrats for that? Oh, yes, I forgot. Because the Democrats wouldn't help fund the wall. So what are you going to do if we do have this blue wave? What are you going to do? Are you still going to defend him? What are you going to do if the Mueller report comes out and says that he conspired and obstructed justice? He conspired and he was deeply involved. What are you going to do? You're still going to back him? I think you will. And that's what's scary. To me, the rhetoric is scary. The fact that you will not honor the rhetoric and see it for what it is and want to sweep it under the rug, which is exactly what he wants you to do. What it says to me is what he said is correct, that he could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot and no one would care. That's dangerous. I don't want to live in a country where I have to wonder whether when I go to temple, I'm going to be mowed down, or when you go to church, you're going to be killed, or if you're black, you're going to be targeted, or you're going to go somewhere and have someone with stickers, all Trump stickers all over their car, go after you. I'm sorry, but enough is enough. The country has had enough. I've had enough. If you haven't had enough, what can I tell you? I can't say anything more to you than I've already said. I can't wake you up. I can't shake you up. I can't make you care about this country if you only care about Donald Trump.